My question for you, Joe, is this, and maybe Kevin could also chime in on this. Obviously, this is your biggest opponent that you've had. I know you've had a couple of defenses already, 3 defenses, I believe. Joshua's your biggest name. You're traveling over to his turf to do this fight. I'm wondering, when you watched the fight that he had against Vladimir Klitschko, where he showed a lot of vulnerability, got knocked down, was in deep, deep trouble, although came back and scored a resounding victory. I wonder, when you watched the struggles he had against Klitschko, what do you take away from that, particularly given that Vladimir was 41 years old, hadn't fought for almost 2 years, and you're exactly the opposite. You've been more active, and you're obviously, almost 20 years younger.
Yeah, I think being active has worked well for us. I watched that fight. He did really well in terms of coming back and showed a lot of heart. You get back up off the canvas and finish off the fight, and obviously getting the win. But I think they're coming into this fight. We're young, we're hungry. I think if we did hit him in trouble, there's no waiting for us. We know how to finish off the fight. We know how to put on the pressure and get him out of there. So there's a lot of, he has strengths and weaknesses like every other fighter has. And, we'll come up with a good game plan, which I believe in, which I think if I execute, we'll get the victory.
Having your thoughts about that, about Joe's being in a much different position in his career than Klitschko was when he got knocked out?
Look, I tell you what, Dan, this is, as we know, there's no secret about it. This is the biggest test that Joe's had in front of him. But I also believe that this is the biggest test that Anthony Joshua's had in front of him. We are expecting a much better Anthony Joshua than the one that fought Klitschko. I think there's still a lot of improvement in him, as there was a lot of improvement left in Joe. So, look, we're anticipating that the styles of both these guys are going to make for a real fan-friendly fight and a very exciting fight.
I want to also ask Joseph about the fact that a lot of people who write and talk about this fight are kind of dismissive because there's been so much attention paid to the prospect of a fight between Deontay Wilder and Joshua, as though it's an assumption that he's going to defeat you. And I wonder, does that bother you? And what is your reaction to so many people who say how much they want to see that fight, and they sort of leave Joseph Parker's name out of the equation? Because certainly if you're the winner, you'll have the belts, and it would make a Deontay Wilder fight against Joseph Parker the biggest fight in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I guess going into the fight doesn't really bother me. I think everyone is entitled to the opinion and the fight they want to see. I think what's important for us is that we focus on what's in front of us, and that's Anthony Joshua. So our full focus is on Anthony Joshua. Our focus is on being in great shape, being healthy.
Hello?
We might have lost them.
Hello?
Operator?
Everyone is still connected. We're just...
Okay.
We're waiting.
Okay.
He hung up on his own. We're waiting for him to dial back in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we might have lost it. We might have lost their connection there.
They're reconnected?
Yes.
Okay, so Dan Rayfield, if you're there, you want to pick up where you left off?
I was asking Joseph about the notion that there's lots of people that are viewing this as a mere walkover for Joshua because so much conversation has been about the prospect of him fighting Deontay Wilder for his belt, as though Joseph's just not even in his fight. And I wasn't sure if he was upset by that, if he used it as motivation, if it irritated him. And Joe, what your thoughts were about that?
Yeah, a lot of people are entitled to opinion. A lot of people want to see that fight, but they can't really see that fight because we're in the way. And it doesn't really upset us. It gives us motivation, in training. And we know what our focus is. Our focus is Anthony Joshua. Our focus is March 31. And we'll focus on keeping healthy, keeping strong, getting fit. Well, we already are fit. And on the best performance of our lives on March 31.
And just one last thing for you, Joe. This unification fight's a big deal in boxing. There's not a lot of heavyweight unification fights, not a lot of unification fights, period. And it's another one in a long line of really outstanding matchups that are taking place this year, that took place last year. Can you just give me your opinion about, just as a fan of boxing, how good you think a match like this is for the sport?
Well, a match like this is it's a very big deal. As a fan of boxing and as a fighter, we love to watch big fights and be involved in big fights. So we're pretty happy to be involved in this big fight. I think it's the best time for us to be involved in a big fight like this. I think back a few years ago, Kevin said, I've always wanted to fight Anthony Joshua, and he said to me, when we do fight this guy, it has to mean something, and it does really mean something this time. We're both undefeated. We're both We both have titles, both world champions, and we both want to unify the division. So it's going to mean a lot. And it's a big occasion.
All right, very good. Joseph, thank you very much for your time. Kevin, thank you also, and good luck to you guys.